Sexual maturity in human beings. Reproduction in human beings is sexual type and involves two organisms, one male and one female. Sexual reproduction means the fusion of male and female gametes. So, the male and females should be able to produce reproductive cells or germ cells for the process of reproduction. But just the production of male and female cells is not enough to complete the process of reproduction. Some bodily changes should happen in the bodies of males and females. These changes facilitate the process of reproduction. When do boys and girls start producing germ cells or gametes? At what age the bodily changes in boys and girls begins to happen? How these bodily changes helps in the process of reproduction? Let us see in detail. But before we see that, please subscribe to our channel if you have not subscribed and press the bell icon to get the latest updates. Boys and girls are born with some special tissues that can produce germ cells. But this tissue is not matured until they reach some age. During childhood, the resources like the food are mostly used by the body for general growth. That is why there is a rapid growth in children between the age of 2 to 12 years. After some years, the general body growth begins to slow down and the reproductive tissues begin to mature. This period during adolescence is called puberty. What are the signs that indicate that the bodies of male and female are ready for reproduction? Growth of new hair in the armpits, genital area, and on hands and legs. Growth of facial hair and change of voice in boys. The enlargement and erection of penis in boys during daydreams or at night sleep. Beginning of menstruation or periods in girls. The breasts grow bigger and hips become wider in girls. These changes in the bodies of males and females indicate that they are ready or getting ready for the process of reproduction. The period in which these changes happen in the bodies of boys and girls is called puberty. At what age do boys and girls enter puberty? There is no specific age, but they enter into puberty in adolescence. Adolescence is the stage between childhood and adulthood. How do we know that puberty has started in someone? We can notice the onset of puberty in boys and girls with some noticeable changes happening in their bodies. Some changes are common in both boys and girls, like thick hair growing in new parts of the body, such as armpits and the genital area between the thighs. The skin in this region can also become darker in color. Thinner hair can also appear on legs and arms. The skin frequently becomes oily and they might begin to develop pimples. There are certain changes observed only in boys, like growth of hair on the face and voice begins to crack. The penis occasionally begins to become enlarged and erect, either in daydreams or at night. The changes observed only in girls are breast size begins to increase with darkening of the skin of the nipples at the tip of the breasts. They begin to menstruate. All of these changes take place slowly over a period of months and years. For example, boys may develop a thin mustache or a patchy beard in the beginning of puberty, but slowly in 2 to 3 years of time, they may grow a thick mustache and complete beard. In the same way, girls may develop small breasts in the beginning of puberty, but in the time of few months to years, they may develop fully grown breasts. In some people, these changes happen early and quickly, while in others, they can happen very slowly. But even after attaining sexual maturity, all boys may not develop a thick mustache or beard. All girls may not get a bigger breast. Boys and girls need not worry about their beard, mustache, or breast size. It all depends upon the individual hormone levels and genetics. All the adolescents should realize one thing, that differences are common. As people are different in general body features like height, weight, skin color, etc., people also will have differences in secondary sexual characteristics like body hair growth, growth of beard and mustache, penis size, breast size, etc. These changes are just the signals that show the sexual maturity of the individual. How these changes helps in the process of reproduction. The changes in the puberty helps in the process of reproduction and childbirth. For example, certain changes like growth of new hair on the body parts, growth of mustache and beard in boys, enlargement of breasts in girls are the signs of their sexual maturity. Do you know how the enlargement and erection of penis in boys helps in the process of reproduction? In human reproduction, the males deposit the male germ cells in the female reproductive system. Penis is the male organ that helps in the deposition of male cells in the female reproductive system. Penis has to become enlarged and erect to facilitate the deposition of male cells into the female reproductive system. Then how menstruation in girls is related to reproduction? After fertilization, the development of embryos to babies takes place in the uterus of female reproductive system. So, for this purpose, the uterus has to be made ready. The walls of the uterus get lined by blood vessels and new tissues to accommodate the growing embryo. If fertilization takes place, the zygote develops into a baby utilizing the preparations made in the uterus. But if the fertilization do not happens, the temporary blood lining of uterus sheds and expels out through vagina. This is how the menstruation helps in the process of reproduction. How the growth of breasts related to reproduction. In mammals, reproduction does not end by just giving birth to babies. After the birth, the babies has to be fed by the mother's milk for some time. Female breasts have mammary glands that produce milk to feed the babies. So, that is why breasts grow in size in girls during puberty. This is all about the sexual maturity in boys and girls. Human male reproductive system. In this video, we'll see the different parts of human male reproductive system and their specific jobs. Human male reproductive system is made up of different organs like testis, scrotum, vas deferens, seminal vesicles, prostate gland, penis, and urethra. Human male reproductive system has two main functions. One, to produce the male reproductive cells, hormones, and accessory materials. Two, to deposit them in the female reproductive system. Now let's see which part of the male reproductive system produces germ cells. The formation of germ cells or sperms takes place in the testes. They are present outside the abdominal cavity in a sac-like structure called scrotum. If testes are important organs of male reproductive system, then why they are located outside the abdominal cavity? Because sperm formation requires a lower temperature than the normal body temperature. Testes also produces a hormone called testosterone. What is the use of testosterone? It is a male reproductive hormone which regulates the formation of sperms and also responsible for the development of secondary sexual characteristics during puberty. Sperms that are produced in the testes need some support of fluid secretions to get delivered into the female reproductive system. Which organs produce those secretions? Prostate gland and seminal vesicles. They secrete certain fluid secretions that provide nutrients to the sperm cells. Now, let's see the journey of sperm cells. Sperm cells formed in the testes are traveled through a tube called vas deferens, and on the way, they are joined with the fluid secretions
from prostate gland and seminal vesicles. The vas deferens is a common duct for both the sperms and urine. It is also connected to urinary bladder. The sperms are tiny bodies that consist of mainly genetic material and a long tail that helps them to move towards the female germ cell. How these sperms are deposited in the female reproductive system. The sperm from vas deferens enters another duct called urethra, which is surrounded and supported by a muscular organ called penis. Penis is the organ that deposits the sperms in the female reproductive system. It becomes hard and erect during the time of mating. That's all about the human male reproductive system in brief. In the next video, we will see the structure and functioning of human female reproductive system. Female reproductive system. In this video, we will see the structure and functions of human female reproductive system. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe and press the bell icon to get all the latest updates. Let's see the different parts of the female reproductive system. Ovaries. There are a pair of ovaries in the female reproductive system that contain the premature egg cells. Oviducts. There are two oviducts which unite into an elastic bag-like structure known as uterus. Uterus. It is called the womb where the implantation and development of baby takes place. Cervix. The uterus opens into the vagina through the cervix. Vagina. It is the passage where sperms are deposited by the penis of male reproductive system during sexual intercourse. Now let's see the production of female gametes. When do girls start producing egg cells? When a girl is born, the ovaries already contain thousands of immature eggs. By reaching puberty, the eggs start maturing. One egg is produced every month by one of the ovaries. The egg released by the ovary is collected in the fallopian tubule. It is the place where the fertilization takes place by the fusion of sperm and egg cells. Then, how do the sperms reach fallopian tubule? The sperms get deposited in the vagina of the female reproductive system by the penis of the male reproductive system during sexual intercourse. The sperms travel towards fallopian tubule and finally reaches the egg cell and fertilizes it. The hormones secreted by the ovaries prepares the uterus to receive and nurture the growing embryo. The walls of the uterus becomes thick and richly supplied with blood to nourish the growing embryo. The fertilized egg, the zygote, gets implanted in the lining of the uterus and starts dividing. Placenta is a special tissue that helps the embryo to get nutrition from the mother's blood. It is embedded in the uterine wall and provides glucose and oxygen to the embryo. Placenta also transfers the waste generated by the embryo into the mother's blood. The development of the child inside the mother's body takes approximately 9 months. This period is called as gestation period. The child is born as a result of rhythmic contractions of the muscles in the uterus. Menstrual cycle. Do you know the functions of female reproductive system? The female reproductive system has the following functions. 1. The ovary releases egg cell for fertilization. 2. It also secretes some hormones to make changes in the uterus. 3. The uterus gets prepared to host the embryo till it is completely grown into a baby. Once the egg is released by the ovary, the hormone secreted by the ovary makes the uterus wall thick and lined by blood and mucus. This would be required for nourishing the embryo if fertilization had taken place. If the egg is fertilized, it gets implanted in the cushioning of the uterus. But what happens if the egg is not fertilized? If the egg is not fertilized, it lives for about 1 day. then the blood lining of the uterus is no longer needed, because if there is no fertilization, then there will be no implantation. So the lining of blood along with mucus sheds out through the vagina. It may take 2 to 8 days. This cycle of events takes place every month periodically and is called menstruation. The span of menstrual cycles is about 28 days. When do the menstruation begins in girls? A girl can start her period any time between the ages of 8 to 15. It all depends on the genetics and other factors. This is all about the menstrual cycle. If you find the video helpful, please like it and share it to your friends. Reproductive health. My reproductive system started producing sex cells. Can I participate in a sexual act and produce babies? No. Before you participate in a sexual act, you should consider the possible consequences. What are the consequences involved in participating in a sexual act? The major consequences involved in participating in a sexual act are health consequences. Do you know, during sexual intercourse, there is a very intimate contact between the male and female bodies. There may be a chance of transfer of germs and infections between the partners. It may cause diseases. What kind of diseases are spread by sexual contact? The diseases that are spread through sexual contact are called sexually transmitted diseases. In short form, they are called STDs. Here are a few examples of STDs: gonorrhea and syphilis. These two diseases are caused by bacteria. Warts and HIV or AIDS. These two are caused by virus. The sexually transmitted diseases can be prevented by using a condom. What is a condom? Condom is a rubbery covering worn on the penis or inside a vagina during sexual intercourse to prevent the sexually transmitted diseases up to some extent. Condoms help to prevent pregnancy also. When a girl is ready to be pregnant. To become pregnant, a girl should be physically, mentally, socially and emotionally ready. If not, the health of the girl will be adversely affected. Then how to stop pregnancy? We can avoid pregnancy by using contraceptive methods. 1. Mechanical barriers. Example, condoms. By using male or female condoms, one can avoid pregnancy. Condoms act as a barrier and prevent the entry of sperms into the female reproductive system. 2. Chemical contraceptives. Example, oral pills. These pills change the hormonal balance of the woman and stop the release of egg and fertilization. But changing hormonal balance leads to so many side effects. 3. Contraceptive devices. Example, copper T or loop. The loop or the copper T are placed in the uterus to prevent pregnancy. They can cause irritation and leads to various side effects. 4. Surgical methods of contraception. Examples, vasectomy or tubectomy. Vasectomy. If the vas deferens in the male is blocked by a small surgery, sperm transfer will be prevented. This method is called vasectomy. Tubectomy. If the fallopian tubule in the female is blocked by small surgery, the egg will not be able to reach the uterus. Surgical methods are permanent. They are safe in long run and followed by families who doesn't want pregnancy. What happens if contraceptives are failed and unwanted pregnancy happens? Medical termination of pregnancy. Pregnancy can be removed by medical surgery, but it will be done only under some special circumstances. Abortion or medical termination of pregnancy is illegal if it is done by someone's choice. It is misused in our country. Many families have reluctant to girl child. It is leading to illegal sex-selective abortion of female fetuses. For this reason, prenatal sex determination has been prohibited by the law.